Hi, everybody. Erin here from Creative Soul in Motion. Thank you so much for joining us. I have Jennifer on the line. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Erin.
Today, we're going to be talking about Jennifer's journey and how she essentially created a life around her purpose and her passion and how she's still living that. And as we all know, journeys never end. So, I'll let Jen start from the very beginning. Can you give us a quick synopsis of just, your journey and those milestones?
Absolutely. There really isn't a before jewelry making in my life so much because I started so young. I was very lucky to sort of tap into it early, but it certainly has been a journey. Going from, college to, corporate America and working in jewelry stores to motherhood to having to put it all on the back burner for a while to finally one day saying, okay, it's time to make it happen. It's my turn. So I'm sort of in that mode right now, trying to reach my goals as a small business owner.
Thank you. That's perfect. I love that even though you started with your jewelry making, like this is still a journey for you. And that's why I brought you on here is even though you might not have had any huge career change per se, it's still a learning process. It's still making it work for you.
hmm
So, I know right now you actually have your own jewelry business. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Sure. I have a studio in Northborough, Massachusetts, and it's a lovely space where I meet clients. It's not your typical jewelry store, it's more of an artist studio because I am mostly custom. And then I also have a website, it's jbriggsandco.com, which has quite a few options on it as well. But I do focus a lot on the client specific needs. So if you don't see it on the website, I can pretty much make it.
That's great. So clearly this is where you want to be, I'm assuming, right? Making your own jewelry,
Yes.
being your own business owner.
Yes.
What did it feel like back when you were working for maybe a main jewelry store or before this part of your journey? How did that feel and, why did you know that that wasn't right for you?
I saw it more as sort of a stepping stone to get where I wanted to be eventually. I always have had a studio in basements, garages,
Yeah.
spare bedrooms, practically closets, wherever I could stuff myself, I would go and create because that I had to have it. Even if I was working a full-time job, I always was working on a few projects here and there for various people, sometimes myself, but usually for other people. But I never felt jobs I was in that that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I knew
Right.
that if I had an option to really pick something, it would be to have my own studio and be able to make jewelry full time. But coming right out of college, I just didn't have that option right away, and it took a long time. But it was never a question of what; it was more when.
I love that. I think that you bring up a really good point, this idea of stepping stones and how maybe some other people's journeys won't necessarily be huge leaps, like, across these chasms of different careers, but more like stepping stones to get you where you want to go.
And I think now that I look back, even though I would have said, yeah, I want to do this now, I look back and all the things that I've learned over the years have given me the tools to make better decisions now, and maybe I won't fail the first time like a lot of small businesses do because I've had all of those experiences working in jewelry stores. I learned I never want a jewelry store. I never want a
Yeah.
retail place like a jewelry store you think traditionally. So that was a great thing to know before I took this leap. And I learned a lot about business being in corporate America. So that's also something you have to know about if you're going to own your own business because it's not an easy road.
It's almost as though you're saying that even though you're not in the positions that you love or you dream of, you can still learn something. You can still gain something.
Absolutely.
I
And
think that's a good
relationships.
message.
Yeah.
And relationships, what were you
Yeah,
saying?
before I had my business, I you know, had relationships, business relationships in other industries, which is good once you do start your business to already have sort of that trust
Yeah.
and rapport with people that can then become your clients.
So I know you've gone through, quite a few changes. Did you feel like there were any limitations or fears that you had to work through to get to where you are now, owning your own business?
Um, absolutely. Financial is a big one. I mean, most businesses fail in the first 5 years. I mean, it's just statistically the reality. So, and most of the time, you've put everything you've got in the basket, and so that was definitely a fear, because I'm not just myself. I have a family, so. You don't want to be sacrificing things for the family to sort of fulfill your need, but that brings me to my other biggest fear, was that my children would have to sacrifice. And so I've really tried to build my business. I get emotional, sorry. In the best way I can, so that they are affected the least. They are, though. It's
Yeah.
nature of the beast. But at the same time, they're learning so much by watching me, and they even do jobs for me in the studio and paperwork, and my oldest son is doing work on my website, and so they see how hard I work, and but they also know that I'm 3 miles down the road and they need me. I'm here. So it's been nice to be able to sort of build it the way I need it for my family.
I think that you bring up two really crucial fears or limitations. And a lot of people don't like to talk about the finances, but it's true. It's scary, and you're putting, like you said, either all or most of your energy, your eggs, your time and money, even your savings into this dream. And it's sad that they don't always make it, but I think that's something that these video series are going to show too, is that maybe that was another stepping stone. Maybe
Yes.
it failed, but maybe that wasn't where you were supposed to end up along the way. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I think too that going into it, you have to accept that there's going to be really rocky parts, and that you just have to keep going and
Yeah.
keep at it, because there. I just don't. I think it's so uncommon for it to just be smooth sailing from day one. I just don't think it exists really in 99% of the time. So when you do set out to do it, you have to accept that it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be bumpy, but you have to stop yourself and say, you know what, it's okay, because I'm doing what I love. I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
So along with the fact that, you just said that you're doing what you love and that can help propel you and keep you going forward, what other inner power or belief helped you keep going, helped you continue to believe in yourself and your dream?
I have to give a lot of credit to my parents. I never once heard a discouraging word all my life. They identified it when I was a little girl, and they've nurtured it all my life. And to this day, they support me tremendously. And then I married a man that also supports me tremendously. So I didn't have to fight for that confidence, because it's all around me. And so it was kind of instilled in me as a child, really. So I've always known and believed that I could do it. I, I believe that if you put energy out there, that vision of where you want to be, and you just keep thinking it and keep working towards it, that you will get there.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that you bring up something that's a lot of people don't necessarily have, or maybe they don't even notice, is this confidence from the support around them.
Yes, it's very helpful. I'm lucky, because not
Yeah.
everybody has that, and I know that, and I appreciate so much that I do have that.
But it's good. I think, especially your journey, while you might not think that it's as normal, I think that's good because it's showing that even though you have that support, there's still those fears and limitations.
Oh,
Nobody has everything perfectly lined up. That's just not life.
Right, exactly.
So, what gave you the courage, or what was that pivotal moment when you were either, in motherhood or when you were in corporate, that you knew that you should be working on your own and gave you the courage to actually act and make that happen?
So my husband and I were both working full time, and then we had our first son, Wilson, and I quit my job so that I could stay home with him. All the while, I did have my studio in the basement. I incorporated in 1997, so I've been incorporated a really long time before I had kids, but um, I just sort of limped along, with it on the back burner because family was first for another, for 10, 12 years once my first was born, and then my second is 4 years younger. It hit a tipping point about 2.5 years ago. I realized my business could not grow in my basement, my unfinished basement, which you can see. I'm sorry. There was just no room to hire. There was no place to meet clients. It was just, and here I sell fine jewelry. It's expensive. I was showing diamonds in coffee shops. I mean, it was not conducive to what my vision was. And so, I needed to make an income. And so we said, okay, so do I go get a job at Trader Joe's, mommy hours, or do I decide this is it? Let's just do it. And so I said, I'll be miserable if I can't. So that was pretty much the deciding factor, because if I had chosen the safe route of just going, getting a job and a steady paycheck, I would have had to really shut down my business, because there wouldn't have been any time to work on it and to keep it going. And there have been stretches in my life where I have not been able to create, and they were very sad, like kind of sad times for me.
Yeah.
I really felt incomplete during that time, and sometimes it would take me a while to figure out, why am I so sad? And then I would steal away a few hours and make something, and I'd be so happy. And so then I realized it was too important a part of me to ignore. So, and that was 2.5 years ago, and since then I've moved into a space and built a website and really put my whole heart into it.
That's amazing. And I think that takes a ton of courage and just realization that it's part of you, and that you'd essentially, the fact that you knew you would be miserable. And I just can't imagine, if you had taken that, what that would mean for your family or for your life and future. So, and that actually brings me up to my next question. So ever since you took this leap and you've been, creating and working with your own business, how has this changed other parts of your life, or how do you feel differently now?
I feel less in shape because that has been one of the things I've had to sacrifice, but I'm trying to get back on that. Gosh, I feel so much more fulfilled in so many ways, but also, there's more stress in my life, I will say, but I try to handle it well and keep it all in perspective, and that, we have our health and our family, and, that's what's important. And if things get hard at work, you just go in the next day and try to make it better. But it's also very exciting when I really didn't have those benchmarks, other than watching your kids grow, which is fantastic. But as a business owner, you set goals, and when you reach those goals, it's so fulfilling, and so I think that part has been wonderful for me to bring that back into my life, when it was really out for 10 or 12 years. I couldn't reach those goals, or even begin to start.
I think just from my point of view, I think I see something huge too. This idea that your parents inspired and supported you to really follow your beliefs, and now you're doing the same thing for your children by living that, and by saying, my feelings, my need to create and to feel engaged and creative is really important, and I'm going to make that a priority. And
And I think another thing that's been really great is that now I feel more involved in the community and I'm able to give back to my community. Before, I could volunteer my time, which is very important, but now I can add, real um, significant donations that help our schools. And I feel like having the business is a great tool to become more involved in the community and start to give back more.
I love that idea. I think that's, really important to realize that you're not just in a bubble, that
Yeah,
your entire business affects the rest of your life, your community, that whole part of you.
definitely.
So, other than your family and your husband, what other resources would you say you relied on throughout this journey, this, personal revolution that you've gone through?
Um, you know, Other than my family, which has been significant, we actually went to a program in Seattle called Pransky, and like a it's sort of like a life coaching sort of 4 day adventure, I guess I would say. And their focus is teaching you how to use your mind and your give you tools to manage life basically more effectively. And that the tool I learned that both my husband Jared and I learned in that workshop have been absolutely um, critical in this journey for us as business owners and as parents. Our marriage, everything. I give a lot of credit to what we both learned in that session, to being able to work through the hard parts and not let it not let anything fester and not let things break down the foundation that we're sort of built on. So I'd say, other than my family, that was a definite big pivotal
Wow.
moment for us.
Sounds like quite the experience.
It really isn't. It's so beautiful out there, and people go out there thinking it's uh, like a counseling type thing, but it's really more of just learning how your mind works and how to better utilize it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much it can do that we don't even realize on a daily basis. So that's been huge.
So interesting. I'll put the link down below
Please do,
so
because
everybody can find it.
it's really a great experience.
So I have to say we're actually at the last question. So do you have any advice for those that are hesitant to make the leap or to have the courage and take their next step?
I do. First, I would say you have to do a lot of planning. Write down start macro, write down your vision, your mission, and then work down from there. And you can set ridiculous goals, make them, pie in the sky, and then you and how you want to progress, not only in a business sense, but it's all encompassing your personal growth, your family growth, all of it together, and that base your plan on all of those things, not just business. And second, don't hesitate to ask for help, because I think a lot of, especially us moms, we're tough, we can do it. Ask for help.
Yeah.
So most times you need it, and give back, because that's one of the most gratifying things.
I love that. And I especially appreciate the beginning because I feel like sometimes um, advice can be really vague, but I like how you actually, kind of give us a small roadmap on how to make your
Yeah.
dreams a reality, like going from this big idea to actually the steps to make it happen.
And you can revisit those every
Yeah.
year, and it's really sometimes kind of funny to see what you wrote down. Yep, I'm still unorganized. I can't check that one off yet. So.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. I know that your story, your journey is going to just be another feather of inspiration to be added to those that are hesitant to fly. So thank you. And can you tell everybody one more time where they can find you online?
Yes, it's jbriggsandco.com. And if there's any way I can help any young entrepreneurs, I'd be more than happy
And she has beautiful jewelry. I
to.
have to
So
tell
for me,
everybody. You have to check out her jewelry. It's gorgeous and stunning.
thank you.
So thank you. I hope you have a great night.
You too. Thanks for including me.
Thank you.